mean, I used to own a business in an Aboriginal community, and so I'm quite aware of the issues in Australia with Aboriginals and the government and things like that. But you know, there's the problems. The problems with lots of that stuff is caused by the minorities making people hate each other. In Vietnam, it's just like common sense. It's just like, well, no, those people do whatever they want to do, and we do what we want to do. But we're the majority, and so they just don't get any traction. There's no government rallies to like there's the guy at the resort at Moonay Hills. He was talking to me, and he was saying when he got to Vietnam, he had to explain to people why anybody would hate gay people, because he's going Vietnamese don't hate gay people. They don't think anything about it. It's somebody else's choice in life. It's not. There's no hate speech against them. There's no crimes against them. It's just your choice, and so, but then therefore, gay people aren't running around in Vietnam having rallies and marches and saying, hey, listen to us. We've got to have a bigger voice. They've got the same voice as everybody else in Vietnam. It's and I think that's part of the problem in Australia and in the West is that we've got all these minority groups and everybody's a victim of something, and it's just crazy. And victims, anybody can claim to be a victim of something. It's just it's just wrong. And it's destructive to society. The society in the West is crumbling under the weight of a whole bunch of people that are making sure that the thing that's best for the majority of people doesn't happen, and governments are investing huge amounts of money in minority groups to please them, and that. Because there's this whole socialist ideology in the West now that everybody's got to be looked after by the state, and it's crazy. And so everybody's got their hand out. This is why Vietnam is doing so well. Like, not just with the coronavirus, it's doing so well in its economy. The interest rate here is 5%. The government hasn't had to drop the interest rate because of the coronavirus. I think the government gave everybody 10% off on their power. That's it. And I think it's a symptom of Western democracies that they're in this big problem with the coronavirus, because they can't make decisions based on good medical science. They make decisions based on popularism and people, lobby groups saying, oh, you can't shut down our businesses, you can't stop us from having a rally against Black Lives or for Black Lives that matter. You can't stop people from going to the beach. You can't do all these things. And Vietnam just doesn't have any problem now. Everybody's out at the coffee shops. Everybody's going to the movies. Like my mum even said to me the other day, she's in Vietnam at the moment. She said, she just goes about a normal day at the resort and does the thing, and then she rings people in Australia, and then she realises, oh, that's right, the Australians are still worried about the coronavirus. That's still a thing there. Over here, that's not even a thing. The government quarantines anybody that comes in from overseas. They had a big a big campaign to start with, and it was all free. Like, so the hospitalisation, the government said, look, it's all free because this is a pandemic. It's free. Now, normally hospitalisation here isn't free, but the government said, you know, it's free because we're going to make sure that everybody reports, even if they don't have enough money, if they need medical treatment. It's better for the society if they get it, right, than if they don't. And then the government did a handout, you know, like went around to literally every house in Vietnam and asked for money to support the government in fighting the coronavirus. So everybody donated. It wasn't compulsory, but if you didn't, like Lily explained to me, if we don't donate, then what happens is the committee members here in our local area know who we are, and then next time if we want anything done, it won't get done. You know, so it's not compulsory, but you know, if you don't help the government when they need help, don't expect them to help you when you need help with getting any documents or building approvals or anything like that. So, and I think that's fair enough. You know, like they don't have a big social services system here, but they only pay 5% tax, so it's user pays. I went to the doctors the other day. I've got health insurance, so it doesn't cost me anyway because I insure for that anyway. But privately, and but the hospital bill for the 2 days was $20 million, which is like about $1,300 or something. Might have been a little bit more, but when you compare that to how much tax I paid in the last 6 months, if I was working here and paying tax at 30% like we do in Australia, I would have paid a lot of tax. So, you know, and I've paid lots of tax in Australia for 25 years, and I've never been to hospital. so arguably I'm not getting my share of the tax dollars there, you know. And here there's still roads, there's still hospitals, there's still everything here, and they've got 5% tax. But where do they get their money? They get their money from the really rich people. The big corporations pay. Here, if you're a big company, you pay the government, and that's how it should be in the West. But what we've got in the West is a system where the big companies don't pay a cent. They get all these tax breaks and that. They get encouraged to put businesses in communities. They get encouraged to destroy the environment in those communities and whatever, anything at all to make a profit. And it's all at the detriment of local people. The small people are paying all the tax dollars, and that's why we've got a widening gap in the middle class. Now, Vietnam's got a growing middle class. Now, your middle class is really important to your economy, and without them, you know, the economy stops. You know, you need them for growth in a country. But the West has forgotten that. So they've got a whole bunch of lobby groups that have lobbied for companies, and the companies have paid the money and got the rules changed. And so now, if you're a big corporation, you get tax breaks. If you're not, if you're a little guy, you get nothing. But anyway, that's all me. I'm gonna have my coffee here, my Vietnamese coffee. That's strong coffee. Yeah. Anyway, just on a side note, I should make a video about the coffee here because Vietnamese coffee oftentimes isn't even coffee. Oftentimes the reason why it's so bitter is because it's charcoal. It's not coffee at all. Sometimes it's just charcoal with burnt milk and no coffee in it. So look that one up. Bye.